G'day guys, and welcome to another Blender tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how we make this animation in Blender. It's going to be freestyle. So to do this, you're going to have at least a basic understanding of Blender. And I'll quickly show you guys what the scene file looks like if I open it up here. This is what we're pretty much going to have when we're done. It's just going to be a 90 frame animation. Not really long, but it's something really cool. I think it can have a lot of applications in your work, so I think you guys will really like this. So let's get started with this tutorial. Okay, so with a brand new scene opened up in Blender, we're just going to go ahead and select everything, go X and delete. So we now have a clean scene and we can get started with our tutorial. We're going to go to add, and the first object we're going to be adding is a circle. So we're going to go to circle, and before we do any editing, it's important that we go to our tools panel here, and we're going to set the vertice count down to 16. Once we've done that, we're going to go to Object, go into Edit mode, and we're going to see here our vertices are selected. If they're not, just make sure you press A so everything is selected. Then we're going to go E, S to extrude, and we're just going to go roughly there. Then we're going to go W, merge, and merge at center. So what we have now are our 16 vertices on the side, on the outer part of the mesh, and in the middle we have one solid vertice. Okay. Now, going to our top orthographic view, we're going to start by selecting this vertice, actually this one here, and then skip one, then select the next one, and so on. So we're just going to select these 8 vertices like so, and we're going to just go hit S and size them in to something like this, and we're also going to drag them down just a bit like so. And then we're going to select our middle vertice and pull that one up like so. And we can see here the basic shape of our umbrella is taking place. But one more thing we want to do is just go to our top orthographic view, select the outer loop, go ES to extrude, bring it out a little bit like so. Then just loop select these vertices here, and then hit double G on your keyboard to do an edge slide, just to bring it up like so. And then we're going to go press A to select everything, go Control N, and we're just going to correct our normals so we can see it's darker under here and lighter at the top. Awesome. Now we simply have to add some loop cuts in here. So I'm going to go Control R and just add about 3 or 4 loop cuts. In fact, I'll just do 3 loop cuts like so. And what we're going to do is enable our proportional editing. We're going to select the loop in the middle, and then we're just going to size it. And it's good to go into your front orthographic view just so you can see what you're doing. And we're just going to roll the middle mouse wheel to control the fall off, just so we give a little bit of an indentation to our umbrella. And that's very good. So we can also go ahead and just go Control R down here, add another loop cut, slide it down to here, and that's just going to enable us to add a separate material on the border. It's just going to add a nicer effect to our umbrella. Cool. Now we're going to go to our modifiers panel, add modifier, and we're going to add a subdivision surface, and then we're going to go to our top orthographic view, and we're going to hit this little mesh icon here just so the modifier sticks close to the mesh so we can actually see what we are doing. And we're going to select every second column like so. Okay. And then we're going to go to our properties panel here, and under transforms in the very bottom you're going to see something called mean crease. So we're just going to drag that up like so. And there we have it. This is pretty much our umbrella. So one more thing we can do, just to get rid of these bad artifacts, we can select the loop on the edge and also give that a mean crease like so. Then we're going to go and enable smooth. And there we have our umbrella pretty much. So now we have modeled our umbrella. We're going to simply model the cane. We're going to go to add, mesh, and we're just going to add a cylinder. We're going to go to our vertice settings, and we're just going to make it a count of 12. And then we're just going to size it down to a diameter that's more suitable for an umbrella. Maybe a little bit skinnier. Go into edit mode, select these top vertices, just disable the proportional editing. Okay, bring up the vertices to about here. Select these bottom vertices here, bring them down here. And this is completely up to you as well, how you want this to look. I'm gonna just make this a bit of a shorter umbrella. So I think I'm gonna go down to about here. And then in front orthographic view, if you hold in Control and you left click on an area, you can extend the mesh. So I'm just gonna make a little bit of a candy cane bend here, like so. And then on the end here, I'm just gonna go ES to extrude, and then go W, merge at center. Then just select these vertices and double G just to bring them down a bit. Control R, add a loop cut in here and bring it up. And there we have it. And then we're gonna go to our top over here. I'm just gonna select these top vertices, bring them down like here. Go E, Z to extrude up, and then size this down a bit. And then E to extrude up again, and then E to size in. Go W and then merge at center. And then we're going to select these loops here and just bring them down. Control R to add a loop cut. Slide it up like so. And here we have the top of our umbrella. So you can also go ahead, add a loop cut here, just to make it look a bit more like an umbrella. And then very importantly, we're also going to add some loop cuts here. So Control R, add a loop cut on here, bring it down to here. Control R, add a loop cut again, and slide it up to there. So if we go and now give this a subdivision modifier and enable smooth shading, we can see we have a really nice cane on our umbrella. And if you're in front orthographic view, you can also just select it, go R90, actually RZ90, just from a front orthographic perspective, so we can see the cane, because otherwise we're going to be seeing it like this from the front, which we don't want to do. So there we have our umbrella. It's pretty much done. We've modeled our umbrella, we've got our cane here, we have the umbrella itself, and now we can go ahead and add the materials. And this is very simple, but first of all we're going to go to our Blender settings here, our Blender render, and make it cycles render, because we always want to work in cycles. And go to our top orthographic view, and we're just going to select vertices to give them their own materials. So what I'm going to do first of all is go to my materials tab. I'm going to click new, and I'm going to call my first material pink. And I'm going to go to my front, to my viewport settings here, and I'm just going to make it pink over here, more like a pinkish color. Then I'm going to click on my color here, get my eyedropper, and make it the same color. Then I'm going to add a secondary material, go ahead and create that there. And we're just going to call this one blue. And we're going to make it blue here in the viewport. We're going to select our color here, and we're also going to make it blue. And then what we want to do is go get our face select here. And we just want to select all these faces that you can see me selecting on the in Blender. So just these ones here, like so, and these ones. Once you have them selected, you're going to go ahead, select the blue material and go assign. And here you have it. We now have the materials applied to umbrella. And if you want to, you can also add one more material. Oops, don't assign that. One more material and call it yellow. And you can make these whatever color you want to make it. I'm just using these as an example. I want to go with yellow, and I'm going to select these outer edges and go assign. And there we have it. Now we have our umbrella. It's looking really good. We're also going to just select our cane here and give it its own material. I'm not even going to name that one. I'm just going to make it a grayish material, darker gray. And there we have it. Our umbrella is pretty much done as far as modeling and materials is concerned. So now all we have to do is simply do our lighting and stuff like that. So I'm going to go to my world settings, going to go use nodes, and I'm going to make this brighter. And the background color, it's just going to be something like this. If we go Shift Z just to see our environment, you can see what it looks like. Yes, I'm going to go with a color like this. I think it complements the pink and the blue really well. And I'm just going to increase the value here to 1.5. Okay, maybe just keep that at 1. And then we're also going to add a lamp, a sun lamp. Just rotate it, bring it up here like so. Rotate it up here, bring it to here. And there we have it. So we now have some light being cast onto our umbrella. We have our environment. And now I'm just going to add a camera. So I'm going to go add camera. I'm going to go into my camera view, G, and press the middle mouse button just to zoom out. And then with your cursor in the center, so just go Shift S to make sure your cursor is in the center. We're going to go to our pivot point and make it 3D cursor. And then I'm going to hit double R just to rotate around in the viewport till I get something that I like, a nice angle. So maybe something like this. And this is also where creative freedom comes in. You can find whatever angle you like, whatever you think works for you. But I'm just going to go with something like this. Just bring it in a bit, again by pressing G and then the middle mouse wheel and just moving in. There we go. And you can also go Control B just to make a border around your camera so it only renders within the camera frame. Okay, there we have it. We're going to go to our render settings and we're going to make sure that, in fact, I'll just leave it at the default settings here. We have a frame rate of 24 frames a second, that's all good. Just hit crop here as well. And we don't have to do too much more than that. So we have our scene set up. Just go back to median point on our pivot point. Just size the camera down a bit here. So we have some more real estate here. And we can pretty much go on to the animation now. So the animation is quite simple. But first I'm just going to select my camera, select my lamp. I'm just going to press H to hide them for now. And then I'm going to go to my front orthographic view. I'm going to select the umbrella. I'm going to go to my mesh settings here. And you're going to see we have here texture space, vertex groups, but the one we want to go to is shape keys. So under shape keys, we're going to hit the plus sign. And that's going to create our bases here. But we're going to press it one more time. And we're going to make sure that key 1 is selected. And we're going to go here to value, and we're going to drag this up all the way to a value of 1. And with that still selected, key 1, we're going to go into edit mode. And what we're going to do is go to our edge select here, select the bottom edge, enable our proportional editing to connected. Okay, and then what we're going to do is go S, Shift, Z, and we're just going to bring this in while we scroll the middle mouse wheel to control our proportional fall off. Now this is can be a bit tricky at first, so just keep working at it. So S, Shift, Z, until you get something you like, and then we're just going to press G, Z to bring it down, and rolling our middle mouse wheel to control the fall off. And this is just a matter of playing around with it till you get something that you like. So maybe here, select this one here and just go S, Shift Z to size this down. And there we have it. So I'm back into object mode now. And if I grab the slider here, we can see it goes between these two morph shapes here. So we got our base here, which is this one. And we have our key 1, which is this one. So these vertices are now morphing between these two states. So it's kind of like, these things are called shape keys, and they're very interesting. And I'll show you guys some more in future tutorials how we can work with these. But for now, we'll just keep it basic. So there we have our animation. We didn't have to do any kind of fancy rigging. We didn't have to set up any constraints or anything. It's just really basic. So if we go into our camera view and also just press Alt-H to unhide everything, and we render now, we can see this. So here we have it. We now have our animatable umbrella. So now we simply have to do some animation. So what I'm going to do is go to my keyframe settings here. And we can see here it starts at 1 and ends at 250. So I'm just going to make this 90 instead of 250. And what I'm going to do is make sure I'm on frame 1. So over here, just make sure you're on frame 1. And then what I'm going to do is drag this value all the way up to 1. And while I'm hovering the mouse cursor over here, I'm just going to press I on my keyboard. and that's going to insert a keyframe here. Then I'm going to go to the very end, okay, so make sure it's on frame 90 now, and then I'm going to drag the slider value all the way down to 1, and I'm going to press I again, and that's going to insert a keyframe. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this tab up here, so click on this little triangular thing, and just drag up, and then on this little box here, just make that our dope sheet. And then in our dope sheet here, just press A to make sure all of these are selected, all of these keyframes. So you can see here the color changes. So if it's white, it's unselected. If it's yellow, it's selected. Then press T on your keyboard and make this linear. And then just grab this little triangular box and just drag it back down again. So now it's linear. And if we go to our first frame and we press Alt A to animate, to play the animation, we can see here this is what we have. And I'm really happy with that. That's quite nice. And once again, you guys are free to play around with this until you get something you like. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter. This tutorial is just to teach you the basics of this setup. Cool. So I'm quite happy with that at the moment. So what we can do now is go to our render settings. And if you have a GPU, also make sure you enable your GPU. That'll make things a lot faster. And under sampling, we're just going to make it 28 samples. We really don't have to go crazy with the samples here. Also under light paths, we want to turn off reflective caustics and refractive caustics. Our max bounces, we want to make that 8. And that's about it over here. We want to go to our clamp, our direct clamp, make that 3. And our indirect clamp, we want to make that 2. And what else? Yeah, it's on 24 frames a second. That's good. We can leave these settings as they are. And now we can go ahead and just go to our freestyle. Here, the freestyle tab here. So click on this little triangle to do the drop down and then just hit the tick here. And that's going to enable freestyle rendering. So if we give this a render now and I go to render here, let that quickly render. And you can see it renders really fast because we turned off all the unnecessary settings. Okay, that's what we have. But you can see it's a bit noisy. So what we're also going to do, if you have Blender 2.79 or higher, you can go to your layers tab here and go all the way down to the bottom. And you're going to see something called denoising. So just click denoising. And let's just give that one more render. And you can see here it gets rid of all of that noise. And it's a nice clean render. It's going to take a little bit longer now, but it still gives us a much nicer result. And now it's going to add the freestyle lines. And you can see here, that is what we have. And it's looking really good. And I'm really happy with the way this looks. But one more thing we can do to make this look even better is to go to our compositing. So I'm going to click here. And we're on default at the moment. I'm just going to go to compositing, click on compositing. And while we're on our layers tab here, make sure you're on the layers tab, go use nodes and also enable backdrop. And then we're going to add a viewer node. So go Shift A, search, and get a viewer node. Put it underneath the composite and drag the image into here. And then what you can do is hold in Shift and just left click anywhere on the space and just drag over these two lines and it'll kind of just bind them together like so. And then what we can do is we can add a filter node. So go Shift A, search, and just get a filter. Put it over here, and we're just going to soften this. You can see it's now softened at, and we're going to go for a value of 0.7, like this. Okay, so if I press V to zoom in here, or Alt V to zoom in, we can see here, this is a little bit too harsh, but if we increase the softness, it kind of just blends it together. It makes it look quite a lot nicer. So pressing V to zoom out, I'm liking the way that looks. And I'm going to go back to my default settings. I'm going to go to my world settings and I'm just going to make this a little bit more of a green color. And I'm just going to press Control to go out of here and then just render again. Okay, I'm not liking the way that looks. Escape. And this is just a matter of playing around with it till you get something you like. Yeah, I'm just going to go with something like that. for now. And this is pretty much how everything is done. So all we have to do now is set up our animation. So just go to our camera again and simply go to our output. And you're going to see here a little folder at the top. We're going to click on that. And I'm just going to save this to my desktop for now. So I'm just selecting my desktop. I'm going to go accept. And I'm going to go here as well where it says PNG. We're going to make this FFmpeg. And if you click, open up the encoding tab here, and you go to presets, we're going to make this H.246 and MP4. So make sure you select that. And that's all set. So we can just close all of these. And we're just going to go ahead, file, save as before we go any further. I'm just going to call this 123, just for example's sake. And then if you hit animate, or animation I should say, it's going to start animating and sending the MP4 to your desktop. So you can see here is the video on my desktop, and it's starting to render. So depending on how powerful your machine is, this could take a few minutes, it could take an hour or whatever. So when this is done, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so we're now done with the rendering, and you can probably hear my computer moaning and groaning in the background from all that rendering. And I'll quickly show you guys the final video. So if I go to my desktop here, you can see this is the video. And it was pretty straightforward and easy to make. So I hope you guys liked this tutorial, that you've learned a few things and that you make something really cool with it. And I will be making some more tutorials real soon, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please do like and subscribe.